Hello everyone, welcome to my course again, and today we are starting a completely brand new course on network analysis using Python. And this field is a subfield of data science. And to be honest, whether you are in a data science, whether you are studying data mining, you will always come across such type of data, because in real world everything is a network, everything is connected, everything is interconnected somehow to each other. And to actually understand, visualize, or gain insights or get patterns from a big set of network in our world, we should have some ground concepts. So exactly what we are going to be doing in this course is we will be learning the basics on networks, and with covering the ground basics of these networks, we are going to slowly move towards implementing these concepts using Python's NetworkX library. Now, what is NetworkX? It's an API in Python which can be used to you don't have to actually know the mathematical notations or models or mathematical concepts of these things to actually implement. You can just simply go ahead and use the NetworkX library to just get the insights, get the flavor of exactly how you work on networks. And this is exactly what makes things very easy for you when you're learning this type of courses, and you can quickly start learning networks. So let's get started. So how do we represent a graph? The first question that comes into your head is, how do we represent a graph? How do we form a network? How do you form a graph? So let's just say that we have person A and we also have a person B. Now there are two persons here, and any type of a person, entity, or object is called a node or a vertex. And there are multiple vertices or nodes in a graph or in a network. And then we also have to represent a set of a relationship between these vertices. So let's say we have a relationship. Now this relationship in graph theory is called an edge. An edge represents a relationship between two nodes or multiple nodes. So if, let's say, if you had another node in this graph, there would be another edge as well. So now a node can have properties: age, gender, name, ID, etc. Or an edge can also have a relationship. So let's say we're talking about a relationship. Let's say we have friendship relationship. We also have roommates, or let's say there are people working in an organization, so they might be partners, they might be colleagues, or there might be a boss or employee relationship. There can be so many relationships. Let's just take an example of a social network, Facebook or Twitter. There are so many ways you can represent communities of relationship and represent them or visualize them in a form of a graph. So the essence of studying network analysis, the essence of learning about graphs or networks, is that you can simply go ahead and understand the real world data and play around with that data to gain insights, to gain some sort of an answers. And those answers are very important for businesses, for many organizations, because they give you the prediction, they give you answers to the future analysis, they give you a lot of things. So moving on, let's say we have a graph. We have a set of edges or vertices A, B, C, and let's say we just came across a data that in real world we don't have a data like this that you're seeing. A works for B. We usually have, if you have already gone through some previous concepts of graphs, or if you have already worked with data sets, you might already have the concept that the data is usually in CSV or a tabular form, and this is not how a data we usually get. But for the sake of example, let's say that we have a data: A works for B, A is a friend of C, and C is also a friend of A. So how do we represent this using graphs? So let's say I draw this graph A, B, and C, and I just connected this randomly. You can just go ahead and connect it in any order you want to. My favorite order was this, so I use this type of representation. And let's say I say that A is working for B, and A is friends with C, and C is also a friend of A. So you can see that it's representing this. Also, you can see that there's a relationship, works for or friends with, in this graph as well, and the vertices or objects are here, right? So don't get scared by seeing this picture. This is how you might end up with when you're working with the real world data. And this is not this is not some sort of an animation, or this is just not some sort of an imaginary graph. This is an actual visualization of a social network, and this is the visualization of Twitter. There are different connections. And why am I showing this data, why am I showing this picture to you, is that when you're working with the real world data, you will not have very small graphs, you will have a huge number of graphs like this. So it's very important for us to understand the network concepts before we can dive into deep analysis like this. So let's move on towards why should we study this course.